All right, folks, we're here with Flagrant Phil. Today is Monday. We had a hell of a weekend. I think this was a Masters for the ages. When you see the leaderboard that's set up with a old Justin Rose who played like he was a young lion, just showing his teeth, showing his grit, showing his commitment, showing his skill and the game that he possesses. We have a Patrick Reed who made a comeback, who was fighting coming up the leaderboard, really doing some good things. We had a Scotty Scheffler who made a run. Guess what? We thought Scotty would do a lot better than he did, but he made a run, and that's the most important thing because in this Masters, you're dealing with, it's a long dance. It's a long dance. I think everybody thought Bryson DeChambeau would outbeat Rory, but at the end of the day, I got to take my hat off to my man, Rory McIlroy. He is the 6th player in the history of the game to get the Grand Slam. And I think he is so deserving of that place in history. Everybody has doubted this guy's courage, his integrity, his grit, whether or not he's a choke artist, but nobody wants to put him on the same level as a Tiger, a Jack, a Gene Sarazen, a Ben Hogan, a Arnold Palmer. You know, we have to pay homage, and we really do, because he showed true grit. He showed, you know, coming off the first hole, double bogey. What does he do? Backs it up. Bryson makes a bogey, and he comes back, ties the lead, gets back, and what does this kid do? I'm sitting there going, Rory is going to coast through when he's 13 under. But I know Augusta, and I know that you can never count the victory. And when he fell off a little bit, and you were starting to say, oh, here he goes again, Rory McIlroy, the choke artist. I'm believing, and I'm believing. And he threw a little bit of Tiger Woods moment in there when he hit the ball from behind the trees. And, you know, you didn't know what it was going to do, but the way it finished up at the hole, and you're going, this is what golf legends are made of. Now, I'm going to call out a few people. My buddies, Plaxico. Rory's the choke artist. He's just not Tiger. Ryan, Rory's a choke artist. Joe, Sushi Joe, Rory's a choke artist. All you guys got to eat crow today. All you guys got to eat crow. And you know what? I think that you guys should publicly give Rory an apology. But if you don't, I'm calling you guys out because you guys were on that bandwagon that put Rory like as he's a subpar golfer, just a tier below the top-notch golfers out there. So hats off to Rory McIlroy for his Grand Slam win. He did it in convincing fashion at the end because, you know, golf is defined by the most difficult shots at the most time-pressured moments. And what he did on 18 on the final, on the playoff hole, whew, it was legendary. So Rory, you're my guy. And I think when you're on all cylinders, there's no better golfer in the world than Rory McIlroy. I said it. Scotty Scheffler, you're good. Rory, right now, you're the top of the food chain. Let's switch gears. Let's go to you New York Knicks. New York Knicks have to play the Pistons. Can Cat Williams, can the big cat get it done? I don't know if he's that good. I just don't know if he's the guy that we've been thinking about, holding the Knicks, being that anchor, and coming through in the big moments. Jalen Brunson, we know he's a fantastic player, but is he going to be enough to get them over the hump? Todd Bridges, guess what? We know he's the Iron Man in the league, but will he be enough? I don't know that the Knicks have enough to get past the Pistons. You know, Cunningham, he's a monster. And the Knicks just have not performed great when it comes to playing against the Detroit Pistons. So I want to say, I'm going to root for the Knicks to get past the Pistons, but don't be surprised if the Pistons throw you a ringer and say, we eliminated the Knicks first round. And if the Knicks should get eliminated first round, I don't think we blame it on Tom Thibodeau. He's a phenomenal coach, hard-nosed coach. I think he's a little inconsistent with the way that he plays his players, but he's a great coach. It's just that the New York Knicks need to prove to the rest of the NBA that we're here, we're climbing up the ladder, and we are going to bring a championship back to New York City. I don't know if it's possible this year, but I think they should make a little bit of noise. I'm rooting for the Knicks to get through the first round. Once we get through the first round, I think it's a toss-up. I just don't know that they have the firepower to really get things done. I don't want to go into the rest of the NBA because I want to save the last topic for an NFL injustice that's been happening for too long. My good friend, Otis O.J. Anderson, over 10,000 yards rushing, Super Bowl MVP, two-time Super Bowl champ, Rookie of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year, played in 2 strikes during his career. When he retired, he was the 8th leading rusher in the league. So when we have those moments where he's being passed up year after year by guys that I don't think were as domineering as he was during the time he played. And he played in an era where the rules allowed you to manhandle, maim. It wasn't, hey, I'm going to touch you, or flag football like it is today. He played in an era where you really had to be a hard-nosed player and you had to earn every yard that you got. But I think that the NFL and the NFL's Veterans Committee, they got it wrong. I think Sterling Sharp, he's a great player. Shannon Sharp was a great player. But do I think that Sterling Sharp is more deserving to be in the Hall of Fame than O.J. Anderson? I don't. And I think that, the Veterans Committee, these are the guys that played next to him during his glory days. These aren't, guys that played after him. These are the guys that were in the trenches with him. And for the veterans not to vote this man into the Hall of Fame, I think it's a disgrace. I think it's a disgrace. I think that the NFL and I think that the writers who had the opportunity to vote O.J. in before he has to go in through the Veterans Committee, I think they should be ashamed of themselves. Because if you just look at his stats, look at his career, there are 2 other players in the league that are in the Hall of Fame that only played, I believe, 6 or 7 years. And that would be the great Gale Sayers and Terrell Davis. Go look at Gale Sayers' numbers for the first 4 or first 6 years of his career. Go look at Terrell Davis's numbers for the first 6 years of his career. And then go look at OJ's numbers for the first 6 years of his career. And see what he did, match him up and see where he stands. The thing that people don't understand is OJ was traded from the Cardinals to the Giants. He was coming off the bench. He was backing Rodney Hampton up. And if Hampton didn't get hurt, OJ wouldn't have gotten there to get the Giants into the Super Bowl and to actually have an MVP moment. So if we want to really take a look, he was a part-time player toward the end of his career. But what did he do? He led that team to a victory. Look at everything that he said coming up to the Super Bowl. I'm going to take this back home, and we're going to win the Super Bowl. That's what he did. So I think that any writer that has any pull, any of the veterans that, I think some of you guys got to get a spine. And you guys got to stand up and say, hey, man, this guy belongs right here with the rest of us. Some of the players that have been inducted into the NFL don't even have. I'm talking about running backs. Some of the running backs don't have the same credentials that he has, but yet they're in the Hall of Fame. If there's ever been an injustice and the scales of justice are unbalanced, it's for O.J. Anderson. And I'm not just saying this because he's my friend. I'm saying this because what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. I think O.J. Anderson deserves to be in the NFL Hall of Fame. Don't make him wait too long. I think his mother should have had the opportunity to see her son go into the hole before she passed. But make it right. You have an opportunity. Let's do something. Let's get it right. That's what I got to say this week.